people on email have asked me, so how are you feeling? How do you like this? Are you lonely? And no, I'm not lonely. There seems to be a lot to. It's crazy to say, but there seems to be a lot to do on board. You've got to get onto stuff early on. If something's not working, or you just constantly got to be vigilant and watching for things, because big screw-ups start with small screw-ups. So there's been I don't know, it's just there's a constant set of things. Yesterday I made some wedges for the batteries, because I noticed that the batteries had shifted a bit in the box with that knockdown that I had a few days ago. The batteries had shifted a bit. So I made, sawed up some wedges and put them in the box. So I was problem solving what was going on with the Victron energy monitor. That took a while. I put some chafe protection on different parts of the boat. I'm just pointing to the wind vane, because you can see there's a bit of hosing down on that control line there. That pulley was the shackle on the pulley was actually just rubbing on it, and just getting onto this stuff early. Otherwise, if that had come off, worn through at some stage, middle of the night, then that's most inconvenient. So there's a whole bunch of things like that, which just takes some time. And then, I don't know, I'm doing a bit of reading. Because I've got broken sleep patterns, I'm doing a bit of sleeping through the day. And then I'm looking after myself. I've got to prepare some food that's got to be interesting. It all just takes a little bit longer. You're working in small quarters. So no, I'm sort of busy, which is sort of interesting. And I've got my mate Ian, who is my HF radio nutter. He and I have a regular sked 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. And I've also got a sked now set up with Taupo Marine Radio out of New Zealand on HF radio. And I'm accessing emails via the HF radio, which in and of itself, accessing emails is a time-consuming task. It can only really happen at night, because of the high-frequency signal propagation issues. That sounds very technical. Propagation, I don't know, it's the effectiveness or the strength of a high-frequency signal based on what's on in the atmosphere, and it seems that the best time for me to both send and receive is after sunset in this part of the planet where I am. So that in and of itself, and many of you have been very, very, very good in sending me emails, and I love getting them. They just take an absolute age to download, and I love getting them, but I also love getting my weatherman's email. I've got a weather router in Perth who sends me weather on a daily basis, and his weather is amazing. He's pretty accurate. He'll talk about, from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can expect the wind to veer more to south-southwest from southwest, and it'll fill out to 20 to 25 knots. And he's generally not wrong, but the problem was the first few days his weather reports were of Gutenberg Bible volume, so he's been great in just bringing it down to the really pithy things I need to know, so at least I can get them downloaded and get to some other emails as well. So I'm just saying that emails and just keeping in touch with people it takes up its time as well. No, it's all pleasure, all pleasure and joy there. No complaints in any of that. But they're just things that on the life of the boat take up my day, and so I'm not bored. But then again, I've only been at this. This is day 11, but I'm not feeling like I'm going to be bored either. Wind's just coming up a bit, and I can feel it's got more south in it as well. It's quite, it's all of a sudden got quite chilly. And again, Bruce has said this, that through the afternoon today and tomorrow it'll be southeasterly, but we'll have these pulses, he calls them pulses of gusts of southerly wind, which will be sort of 30 to 35. I've not seen any 35 knots, but this morning we had some 30 knot gusts. The trade wind 35 is built for this stuff, takes it really well, and this video is always understate the sea state, but it's quite comfortable on board. Still need to be careful down below. I need to be careful down below because I always said the biggest risk for me is some injury. It'll be a broken arm or a leg or some sort of dislocation from body contact with one part of the cabinetry down below or something up top here. I'm not going to drown on this thing, but I might suffer some sort of disabling injury. That's my biggest fear. Well, this is a different view. Again, a couple 100 mile out of Cook Strait. Probably less than that now. There's my fully reefed main, which I've been moving around a bit to just get it off those shrouds. There's one shroud there that I just lift it off every now and then, trying to just prevent any chafe. This is my number 3. I only just discovered this. Running pretty much downwind like this in strong conditions, you get pretty good balance by sheeting on quite hard a relatively small sail and combining it with the main, which is pretty out there. And I think how this is working, I'm going to tell you more than I know, but how this is working is, so the wind is trying to push the bow of the boat around upwind because of the pressure on the main, but as it seeks to do that, it's got this counter balance here, because as it tries to push it around into wind, it's got this flat surface here which is pushing the bow back downwind. And you can see my wind vane. It's working well when the paddle in the water is pretty much vertical and the paddle in the air is pretty much vertical as well. In other words, aligned with the shaft. So you can see the paddle in the water, the top of the paddle in the water, it's leaning to the right, which means that the paddle itself is pushing out to starboard, if you like, to bring the bow of the boat around, so it's really moving the bow of the boat to port. And it's, doing that, it's completely balanced when all of that is just lined up with that shaft. It's getting knocked around a little bit in these conditions, but basically if all that's just lined up and it's jiggling away nicely and you're going the direction, and if you can get all set up so it's all vertical or aligned like that, then it's least amount of strain on the total system. So there's the southwesterly swell and the southwesterly wind. We're doing 6s and some 7s coming down some of these swells. Morning and night I take just a bit of frankly it's a crawl around the boat, looking at shackles, split pins, chafe points, anything that can stuff up, because the law of the boat is what prevails here. If it can stuff up, it will. See, that's a decent bit of swell, but we're just going to ride on top of that and come down in between that and the one that's following it. and get a bit of speed while we're at it. I, of course, in this am tethered on. I keep up front here 2 tethers always. You know, the tendency just to, you know, your tether doesn't quite reach, so you, you know, untether the tether that brought you to the bow of the boat or midships. The tendency just to think, oh look, I'm not going to undo it and not do another one up is too strong, so I have a couple of these up front and midship as well. But I'm just having a look at a few potential chafe points.